The Eocene epoch, spanning approximately 56 to 34 million years ago MY, marks a fundamentally critical juncture in primate evolution, defined by a massive adaptive radiation of early primate forms, primarily those exhibiting characteristics similar to modern strepsirrhians. Despite the hypothesis that primates initially evolved in Asia, the prevailing fossil record reveals a strong presence of early primate material throughout North America and Europe, dating specifically to the Eocene epoch, 56 to 34 MY. This extensive northern expansion was directly attributable to specific geological and climatic conditions unique to the early Eocene.
So the Eocene, it wasn't just, another tick on the geological clock. We're talking about a massive 22 million year long chapter where the first true primates really truly took hold. This is the moment we see this incredible explosion of new forms, what biologists call an adaptive radiation, especially of primates that look a lot like modern lemurs and lorises. You could say the blueprint for all later primate evolution was being sketched out right then and there.
And what's really wild is where all this action was happening. When you think primates today, your mind probably jumps to the tropical forests of Africa, Asia, or South America, right? Well, the Eocene fossil record flips that script completely. The fossils from this time are popping up all over North America and Europe. It tells us the entire northern hemisphere was just absolutely teeming with our distant primate relatives.
Now, this incredible primate boom didn't just happen in a vacuum. It was only possible because of the unique environment of the early Eocene, a world that, honestly, would be totally unrecognizable to us today.
Okay, first, let's look at the map of the world back then. The northern continents, North America, Europe, Asia, they weren't separate like they are now. They were all smashed together into this one giant supercontinent called Laurasia. It was basically one huge connected landmass for animals to just roam across.
And these connections acted like massive superhighways for migration. For a small tree-dwelling primate, this meant they could move from Asia into Europe and then right on over to North America without ever having to cross a big ocean. The whole northern hemisphere was pretty much one giant continuous home for them.
And that brings us to the second piece of the puzzle, the climate. The Eocene was a total greenhouse world. Global temperatures were through the roof. You had lush tropical and subtropical forests, perfect primate real estate, stretching all the way from the equator up to the poles. There were no permanent ice caps, just millions upon millions of square miles of warm, humid, stable forest. It was literally the biggest continuous playground primates have ever had.
All right, so we've set the stage. Now it's time to meet the stars of this whole northern drama. Living in these massive forests were two main groups, two super families of primates that just absolutely flourished and diversified in some really incredible ways.
So the forests were pretty much run by these two groups, the Adapoidea and the Omomoioidea. You can think of them as having two totally different game plans for survival. On one hand, you had the Adapoids. They were generally bigger, they were up and about during the day, and they're the ancestors of today's lemurs. On the other hand, you had the Omomoioids, smaller, nocturnal critters that had a lot in common with modern tarsiers. They lived in the same world, but they definitely carved out their own unique ways of life. Let's talk about the Adapoids. These guys were the lemur-like primates of the Eocene, and man, were they successful. We're talking hundreds of known species. They mostly munched on fruits and leaves, and we find their fossils all across that northern supercontinent. It's just a huge testament to how much they dominated the treetops during the day.
And then you've got the Omomoids, who basically owned the night. Their fossils show these huge eye sockets, which is a total dead giveaway that they were nocturnal. They were probably out there hunting insects, maybe grabbing some fruit on the side. And just like the Adapaloids, they were all over the place. Which just goes to show you, the Eocene night was just as buzzing with primate life as the day was. But, all good things must come to an end. This golden age for northern primates, it wasn't gonna last. The very conditions that allowed them to thrive so spectacularly were about to change, and change dramatically. And this led to a catastrophic decline, and ultimately the end of their reign.
That greenhouse world started to cool down. As the global thermostat dropped, the planet got a lot colder and drier. And that single, unbroken belt of tropical forest that stretched across the whole northern hemisphere, it started to fragment. It broke apart. What used to be a primate superhighway just turned into a bunch of isolated, shrinking islands of forest, with wide open grasslands in between.
So this really shows you the incredible and rapid reversal of fortune.
The story kicks off around 56 million years ago with this huge primate expansion, all fueled by that warm climate in those connected continents. But fast forward to 34 million years ago and poof, that world is just gone. The climate change completely wrecked their habitat, which led to the extinction of most of these northern primate groups. Evolution, well, it was forced to find a new main stage.
And so, that new stage for primate evolution was found in the south. As those northern forests disappeared, the future of the entire primate order was basically placed in the hands of the populations that were living in the much more climatically stable parts of Africa and Asia. The Grand Northern Experiment, well, it was over.
The primates that ultimately survived and evolved into the major lineages of the Oligocene, including the anthropoids, were primarily those found in Africa and Asia. In our next videos, we will discuss these developments in further detail.